Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, where we look at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Welcome back to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone. I'm your hostess, Cindy Murray, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Amber and Kristen.
Hello.
If you are just joining us for the first time, we are a podcast hosted by three women from varying stages in our lives, thus the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And we have a lot of different viewpoints, sometimes the same, sometimes different from each other. But the whole idea is that we have conversations about various things that affect our lives, both lighthearted and serious, and we compare notes of how we feel about those things and how they affect us. So we welcome you to our show, and we hope you'll get something useful or helpful or even just fun and entertaining out of it. Today, we are recognizing Sleep Awareness Month. March is Sleep Awareness Month, and we are posing the question, did you get enough sleep? I think a lot of us are going to say a wholehearted no, but some people don't even know what a healthy amount of sleep is.
I sure don't, because I definitely don't get enough sleep.
I only know the 8 hours, the typical 8 hours.
Well, sources say that the average adult should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I know when I was a younger adult, I leaned more toward that 9. And as I've gotten a little older, I'm okay with the closer to the 7, but then I'll have a kind of a cycle where I need to catch up and get a 9 hour, So, but
Every
for
weekend.
what?
Every weekend.
Every weekend, right? So the sleep recommendations by age are for a newborn, it is 14 to 17 hours. From 4 to 11 months is 12 to 16 hours. 1 to 2 years is 11 to 14 hours. 3 to 5 years old is 10 to 13 hours. A 6 to 12-year-old should have 9 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's a lot of kids who are not getting that much sleep. 13 to 18 years old is 8 to 10 hours. And I know a lot of teenagers who are not getting that also. And then 18 to 64 is 7 to 9. And if you're over 65, then 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And that, a lot of older people also do not get that much sleep. I know my mother I don't know how she's sleeping now, because she's in a assisted living facility, and so they track her sleep more closely than I do. But when she was living on her own, she would get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. And I mean, she would take a nap during the day, not necessarily realizing that she was taking a nap. She would just spontaneously fall asleep. But she would only
so
get
familiar.
those. Huh?
Right?
Sounds so
I know,
familiar.
I do that too. But she would only sleep about 4 or 5 hours, and then she would be wide awake. So I think a lot of people have either that problem, or some people have the opposite problem. They can't go to sleep, or they can't get to bed. That's what tends to happen with me. I tend to stay up really late, and then my body takes a while to kind of shut down, because it takes your body a while to shut down and go to sleep. I know there's a lot of different disorders as well that affect your sleep. Probably my biggest problem right now is that I have a very random schedule. It's not a good schedule. I don't get enough sunlight during the day. I tend to stay up too late, work too late, and then can't go to sleep. So I'm trying to get back into the right circadian rhythm because our bodies are designed to be awake when the sun is up and to sleep when the sun is down. And I have kind of gotten myself into a sleep deficit because my sleep patterns are almost backwards. So I will often go to bed at like 4 in the morning and then sleep until noon. And or if I have to get up early, I'll get up at 8 or 9 and then I've only gotten 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So it's really hard to reset your clock to be in that correct schedule. I do not understand. I haven't figured out how to do it yet because something always happens, and the first time I stay up late one time, I'm right back
You're
where
hosed.
I started.
Yep.
And so I'm if anybody has any tips for that, please let me know. I've tried doing things like taking melatonin before I go to bed.
Oh,
you
that
know,
doesn't work on me.
well, it does me if I take enough of it, but it's not going to work long term. It only makes me sleepy that one time, and I can't get my body to go back into that circadian rhythm that is supposedly the normal thing. You know, I would ideally love to wake up at like 9 o'clock in the morning and, you know, be in bed with the lights out by midnight. But I can't get to bed on time. And even if I work it so that I have to get up at 9 repeatedly, I will wind up falling asleep one night, but then the next night I'm wide awake again. And, you know, I really don't have a problem falling asleep. Once I get in bed, I usually like read for about an hour or so, and then I'll start to get kind of sleepy, and I have another sleep related issue, which is sleep apnea. And so I have a CPAP machine that works very well. I love it. I've gotten the best sleep of my life since I started using it. And I put it on, I turn the lights off, and I am out before I even realize that I've gotten comfortable. You know, I immediately fall asleep with it. So that's not the problem. The problem is just getting to the bed and getting tired early enough that I can go to bed earlier and get up earlier. So there's a lot of other, you know, sleep disorders. I've known people with several of these. I was looking online. There's a list. It's kind of a short list because there's very, very many. But here's some ones you might not have thought about. Insomnia. I have in the past had insomnia. I think I've battled that pretty well. I don't have that issue anymore. I don't watch TV right before bed. I, you know, try to do that wind down thing, you know, where because I read for about an hour and stuff. So that helps a lot. There's obstructive sleep apnea, of course. Narcolepsy is another one. Restless leg syndrome. I've actually battled with that over the years as well.
Yeah, I battle with that constantly.
I did until I started taking magnesium supplements, and the magnesium supplements helped me with that a lot. Sleep-related leg cramps, also sometimes a magnesium or a potassium issue.
Yeah, I take potassium because I get really bad leg cramps. I think like what stops my restless leg is sleeping on my stomach. For some reason that helps me.
Okay.
That's interesting. I've been taking magnesium for
That's what I said.
muscle. Oh, she said potassium.
Oh yeah, potassium.
Potassium's good for cramps.
Yeah, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, I believe, are the three.
Sodium.
They have to be in balance with each other. And that's what keeps you from getting cramps. And like if you have Charlie horses or whatever, a lot of times they'll say take potassium if you have Charlie horses, and then the restless leg take the magnesium for that. So
Well,
I don't know.
maybe I should take magnesium for the restless leg.
It might be worth trying. I swear by it. I wasn't taking I don't take the magnesium for restless leg, but I noticed after I started taking it that it helps. So another one is frequent nightmares, and a lot of people have bad dreams, or you know, for some people a nightmare is, the boogeyman coming to get you, but for some people a nightmare is just an uncomfortable situation that gives them stress and anxiety, and they may have that same dream a lot, or what may scare one person may not scare another, but it's your reaction to the dream that defines it as a nightmare. So and a lot of times those are due they can be due to a lot of things, because they can be due to medications that you take. They can be due to food that you eat, because particularly with like spicy food, sometimes will cause people to have spicy dreams. And then, also if you have any kind of trauma or anxiety or anything like that. So there's one they put on here, insufficient sleep syndrome.
Do
And
tell.
huh?
Do tell.
Yeah, it doesn't say what it is. It just lists it. And then there is irregular sleep-wake rhythm, which is what I have also. So that's just like a short list of some of the things that you might encounter as far as having sleep disturbances. But sleep is so important to your health. You just can't imagine the number of things that it affects as far as your health. Like as a diabetic, I learned that not having adequate sleep can actually make my blood sugars go up. Not having adequate sleep can contribute to heart disease. It can contribute to obesity. Help me out here. What other kinds of things can y'all think of that? I mean, obviously it can contribute.
It can impair your judgment.
Well, absolutely, yes.
It can
Decision making, reaction time.
Definitely.
Actually, I don't remember where I read it, so you can't quote me exactly, but I think skipping a whole day of sleep is your brain is actually like it's under the influence of alcohol. Your reaction time and your functioning abilities.
I mean, it can lead to like pretty much everything that could go wrong in a body, like especially if you have untreated sleep apnea, which was like one of the underlying things that contributed to my dad's death, was that when he died of multiple organ failure, and basically it's like a one thing that leads to another, leads to another, that leads to another, but like an underlying problem is lack of sleep.
Well, I'm pretty sure that my dad's sleep apnea played a significant role in his heart attack and later demise. My mother actually has dementia, and they are now finding that there are ties from sleep apnea to dementia. And so, there's it's really important to pay attention to your sleep. And it's hard to get a good sleep, but there are a lot of things that can help you get better sleep. Some of the things that they're talking about that I've seen talked about is, making sure that you stay on a regular schedule as much as you can, because if you change your bedtime around a lot, your body can't ever acclimate to a set time, and it's confused, and it's really hard to to make it fall asleep. And you also, probably want to stay away from alcohol or caffeine close to, later in the day, because that can interfere with your sleep as well. So we're in National Sleep Awareness Month, if I can speak properly here. And sleep has become so scarce for most Americans that the CDC has actually declared inadequate sleep as a public health epidemic, because none of us are getting enough sleep. And I wonder, some of it is obviously healthcare related. I don't know how many years I fought going to the doctor about my snoring and my sleep apnea, because, I had this picture of somebody wearing a mask that looked somewhat like the creature in Alien on my face, and this loud machine, breathing for me or whatever. People have these ideas of what a CPAP machine looks and sounds like.
Right.
They're actually very very much smaller, very much quieter than they used to be. And with the variety of different masks that you can wear, they can be very inobtrusive. The mask that I wear is called a nasal cushion, I believe is what it's called. And it just sits underneath my nose, somewhat like the little cannula that you wear in the hospital when you're on oxygen, except it doesn't have the part that goes up in your nose. It just lays below it. It's a little bit bigger than that, but it just blows air straight into my nose. But it's so soft and pliable that I can actually lay on my side or sleep almost on my face,
Right.
without it bothering me. And there are times when if my mask is adjusted just the right way, I don't even realize I'm wearing one. So they're very, very comfortable. And like I said, I can put mine on and will fall asleep almost immediately. I don't even realize that I've actually settled down into comfort before I'm waking up and it's the morning. So and I mostly sleep all the way through the night, which I did not do before I had my CPAP. I always woke up a couple of times in the middle of the night.
Uh-huh.
And I rarely do that anymore. But some of the other reasons that people don't get enough sleep is because I think we try to do too much. And
So
and
true. That is so true.
we've come back to this. I was talking about this on a previous episode, that I have a friend who says you do too much, and I tell her I have ADHD. I can't do too much. I can't do enough. And I'm always doing. But the truth is that I want to get things done, and I want to. I want to always be busy, and then sometimes I with my time blindness, I will start a project too close to bedtime to finish it. So I'll just stay up late and
Yeah.
keep working on it
Yeah.
instead of setting it aside and moving on. Because as a person with ADHD, it's really hard for me to stop one task and move on to another. That transition is very difficult. And so I will often keep working at it, or I'll tell myself I'll go to bed as soon as I finish this paragraph or this page of this whatever, or as soon as I'm done with this spreadsheet that I'm working on or whatever. And I think we do that a lot, and we just engage our brains so much that we can't shut them down and go to sleep.
Yep.
What kinds of things do you think interfere with your sleep the most?
Intrusive thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's it like really has nothing to do with my phone or technology or anything like that. Well, I guess for starters, I work too much, so I don't get home until late.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I want to be awake and do things at my house.
Yeah.
So therefore, I go to bed too late. But then after I get to bed, I lay awake at night and think about like everything in the world on my mind that has nothing to do with anything but everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I used to have a lot. That's what I was talking about earlier, the insomnia. I found that making a list. I have a planner that I keep, and checking my planner and making sure that all the things I need to do are on my planner for tomorrow. That kind of helped me. And if I get in bed and something new pops up, I will often quickly grab my phone and make myself a reminder. Don't forget to do, check how much flour you have or whatever, and or don't forget to call so and so. And I'll put those reminders on my phone to alert me when I wake up in the morning. And so then it lets me just say, okay, I took care of it. I recognize that I took care of it. Now I can relax. That was a hard thing to learn because I used to lay in bed and worry about things. I think also learning to meditate in bed was very helpful. I do quiet meditation, just laying in my bed, and I usually fall asleep. If I do that, I usually fall asleep while I'm meditating.
Oh yeah, I like listening to, like, on YouTube. There's like a lot of people that'll have like really long narrative, like meditation kind of
Yes.
things, guided meditations.
Yes.
And I'll put that on and I'll close my eyes and start dreaming up, imagining whatever, and then I'll be asleep in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for me the part that keeps me up at night. Like, I'll be in bed, but I'll be on my phone.
That's a lot of people's problem. A lot of people play on their phone or they watch TV.
That too.
My husband used to watch TV. It made me crazy because we would go to bed sometimes. In fact, I learned to stop going to bed when he went to bed because he would turn the TV on and then he'd fall asleep. But I couldn't fall asleep if I had had the TV on before I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just kind of working at odds to each other. And so I finally just started staying up later than he did so that I could read while he watched TV, and then we'd be asleep. But there was a study that went, and I'm sorry, I cannot quote this study. I have no idea where it was. This was years ago that I saw this, but they studied people who did different things before they went to bed. Some of them went straight to bed. Some of them read before they went to bed. And, some of them used their phone or they watched TV. And they found that aside from how long it took them to fall asleep, the people who did not watch any kind of TV or play on any kind of screen got a deeper, more restful sleep than the people who read or just went straight to bed, even if they got the same number of hours of sleep. And so a lot of people who say, oh, I can go right to sleep after they play their game or they're, watching TV or whatever, they may fall right asleep, but they may not be getting the same quality of sleep that they would be getting if they turned those things off.
Yeah.
And I know I've been just as bad about it because, I have my little words with friends and my Duolingo and
your
my
reels on Instagram.
Just death scrolling. Those things do not help you sleep.
Doom scrolling.
It's death,
Death
scrolling.
scrolling.
It's death scrolling.
Yes.
It is death scrolling. Because it's going to be the death of me. Because lack of sleep causes health problems, and there we go. So what other problems do you think or do you have with getting enough sleep?
Gosh, that about covered it. Death scrolling. intrusive thoughts,
I can tell you
eating
some
after a
things that
certain time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
that
can
one's-
tell you that the temperature in the room has to be
Oh yes.
Ideal.
Usually they say you sleep better if it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am a cocoon sleeper,
Mm.
and I know Mom and I, we have different blanket styles on the bed. I like the blanket like super tucked around me,
Yes.
and I literally
She looks like a burrito.
I like the fabric tucked up underneath me. I don't know. I like it, it's tight around my body.
She's a little burrito.
And then I like scrunch up my blanket around my head, and I'm completely covered in a thick, gushy blanket, but I want that ceiling fan on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because you can't really feel the ceiling fan, but I can breathe in the cool air.
Right.
And then every once in a while I might, loop a leg out to cool off, but I need to be cool when I sleep, but also warm.
Yes.
It's so weird, right?
Yeah.
Like a cold face, but a warm body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like
Cold
to have
room.
the noise, like a fan that
White
has
noise.
Yes. White
Yeah,
noise
white
helps
noise.
because that way you can't hear all
No
the.
TV, pitch black, cold face.
Amber
warm
and I
body.
sleep in the exact same
Yeah.
environment.
Well, I
we
mostly
Cocoon,
am.
fluffy, comfy blanket too.
I mostly am, except that I don't like to be cocooned. I like the blankets and the sheets to all be completely flat across the bed, and then just laying on me. But I like heavy blankets.
Heavy blankets, yeah.
They've got to be heavy and they've got to be really soft. I like. I have a little fleece blanket that lays across just my side of the bed on me.
It's
That
fuzzy.
adds that. It's really fuzzy. It's really soft, and it adds just that little extra bit of weight that
yeah,
I
I have
like. And it
a
doesn't matter.
comfort
Yeah.
blanket just on my side too.
I sleep with that on there year round, with the fan on, and the house is set at like 65 degrees at night in the winter. So it's cold. It's like I get in bed and I'm like, oh, hurry, get the covers up, because I'm cold. But the minute I get all settled in the blankets, it's like, okay, here we go. But that helps me sleep, and I think finding those things that help you sleep is really important. Whatever those things are, and if you. I think it's important to listen to the advice of doctors and the scientists who've done the studies and have proven the facts that these things that affect your sleep, they really do affect your sleep, even if you think they don't. Because to think that they don't affect you is it's almost arrogance. What makes you different? It's kind of the equivalent of a diabetic saying, well, I can eat sugar. I can eat it. I can do this. I can do that. Well, you can, but it's not good for you. You can watch TV at night before you go to bed, but it might give you a heart attack someday. You can drink all that caffeine at night, but it might cause you to develop diabetes. There's just so many variables that it's smart to do the little things that you can do to take care of your health, and getting adequate sleep is one of them. And it's something I've struggled with for most of my life, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get that schedule back to a norm. So even when I stay up late, I try to get those 8 or 9 hours of sleep if I can. And I'm trying to work back into that, going to bed earlier so I can wake up earlier and get more sleep. And I just think that's really important. But yeah, I know people who have CPAPs who don't use them all the time.
Hey, no. That's fighting words. I know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep, and then I just turn off the lights and go to sleep because I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm too tired to put my CPAP on.
That's why you should put it on before you turn off the light.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I'm in my bed like scrolling for 2 hours, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sleepy, and then I fall asleep.
See, I put mine on. I put my book up, but then I don't know. Sometimes I put it on a little bit before I'm so tired that I'm going to fall asleep, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it's, I have actually, though, one night last week, I was sitting in bed and I was reading. I put my book away and I set my alarm on my phone and I turned the light off and I laid down and I went, what's wrong with this picture? And I realized, oh, I didn't put my CPAP on. And I've been wearing that CPAP for
Years.
since 2016, I think. So, or 2017, maybe. And, you know, every night. I sleep with it every night. In fact, if I don't wear it, I don't sleep well. So I try to sleep with it all the time. I don't really, you know, I don't have a lot of advice to give to people who have, you know, things like narcolepsy. I've known people that have narcolepsy, but I don't know enough about it to know. I don't even think they know the cause of it, do they?
I have no idea, but that's kind of, it's different because that's, you know, like spontaneously falling asleep.
Well,
during
but it's
waking
more
hours,
than
but-
just them spontaneously falling asleep because they fall asleep, they fall asleep because they're not sleeping well or correctly at other times. So their body just like gives out, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a combination of not sleeping when they're supposed to and then suddenly.
Oh, I thought it was unrelated to your sleep at night.
I don't think I don't know.
It looks like other things cause it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the not getting sleep is not the cause of it, but not getting sleep is a part of it. So they also, because they don't get enough sleep, they can have hallucinations. They may suddenly just fall asleep without warning. That's the symptom we're most familiar with. They feel drowsy throughout the day. They can even have sleep paralysis, which Kristen has experienced before.
Yes.
I've experienced that also.
But there's medications and stuff that can help with that and stuff. Like I said, I don't really know that much about it, but I know it's a very dangerous disorder that, you know, it has a lot of very serious side effects, particularly, you know, like people who might be operating heavy machinery or driving a vehicle or, you know, all kinds of things that can happen to people if they suddenly fall asleep. So not being able to control your sleep pattern is a very scary thing. So, to me, any of these things are scary. You know, even having frequent nightmares is a scary thing to me. And I don't want to have to do that or, you know, I don't want to have to go through that. I'd rather not dream at all than to have scary nightmares,
no kidding,
right?
That's
So
supposed to be
whatever
the
I
peaceful
could
time of your day.
right,
Yeah.
whatever I could do to have that peaceful sleep, I am willing to do it. Because I look forward to sleeping. I actually do. I love sleeping. I hate waking up in the morning because I'm comfortable in my bed. I don't want to move. I just want to keep sleeping. Even if I've had my 8 or 9 hours of sleep, I just love sleeping. So I don't know. It's
funny because I love sleeping too, but it's the one thing I deprive myself
Oh,
of
me
the
too.
most.
Me
I'm
too.
like, why do I do that?
And
Like, I love it so much. Maybe I'm afraid. Like I love it too
it's
much.
FOMO. I think there's a FOMO
Yeah.
thing about it, you know, that because I love
That too,
sleeping, but
'cause I
I
also
have
wanna do
that
lots of
FOMO.
things.
What am I going to miss out on? You know, I want to
What
watch
could I be
one more episode of that show I've been streaming, you know, rather than get that 45 minutes of sleep. And it's like that show would still be there tomorrow, but I want to watch one more show. I'm just like, you know,
Exactly.
same thing, or, all those things. I could do one more page in my scrapbook or whatever. So, I could read one more chapter in my book. All of those things.
Oh,
So
no, that's totally me right there.
and and as far as, like I said, the intrusive thoughts or the anxiety at bedtime, I've had that before. I've had that a lot throughout my life, particularly when I was younger and had a lot of PTSD from different things and a lot of things that I've had to deal with. And I've, slowly with some good planning, some good organization, and some good shadow work, I've come to deal with a lot of those things so that I am not overwhelmed by those thoughts when I go to bed at night. But, it takes work and it takes effort, and it can be a challenge. So,
Yeah. I think of getting good, healthy sleep because I restrict my sleeping a lot because I'm always trying to do.
yeah.
And I'm also afraid I'm going to overdo it because if I go to bed really, really early and then sleep really late, like if my schedule allows it, I will feel like I'm abusing that ability to sleep in a lot and I'll overdo it. And so I kind of think of it like a diet. Like when you're going to eat healthy, right?
But the thing is that your body will only allow you to sleep as much as it needs.
Yeah, if you get like 12 hours of sleep, that means you need it.
Yeah.
You think?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
See, and I've always
sure.
figured like I was just making myself sleep.
No.
Oh.
No,
You're
like,
probably
if
catching
you're
up from the
sleepy-
times
And
that
see,
you've
I
been
keep
deprived.
hearing you can't catch up on
You
sleep.
can actually. They did a study that I read many years ago that said you do catch back up on your sleep.
No,
You
I
like
got a lot of
your
catching up
body,
to do.
like my body will, like if I then I think that's like if I stay up way too late at night, my body will not allow me to get up in the morning, especially on the weekend, unless I force myself to get up. Because during the weekday, I force myself to get up and go to work. And sometimes it's only after like maybe 4 hours of sleep, but my body will catch up on the weekend.
Yeah.
Especially like if it's like a Sunday when I don't have anything going on, my body will not allow me to get up until it's caught up.
Well, and that goes back to that irregular schedule that I have, because I will have, days during the week where I'll get like 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, and it's obviously not enough. I'm tired throughout the day. I could actually go take a nap if I wasn't so busy, but my body needs that sleep, but I'm not giving it to it. So then when I do get that opportunity to sleep in like you do, I'll sleep 10 hours and, catch up an hour or two here or there over the next couple of days until it kind of balances out. So when my sleep schedule kind of balances itself out, I wind up getting about 7 hours of sleep. So, I need the sleep.
There are times whenever like my body is just like on the way home from work, especially if I didn't get enough sleep the night before and I'm like sitting and stuck in traffic on the way home from work, I'll start to fall asleep and I have to pull over.
Dangerous, yeah.
Yes.
And I'll have to pull over and just kind of take like a little bit of nap on the way home from work. And there are times like if I haven't gotten enough sleep, I'll be like on my break at work and I'll be doing something on my computer and I just kind of start to like nod off.
I've done that a lot.
Because I, lack sleep. Like your body will catch up one way or another.
Well, and if your body doesn't have enough energy because it hasn't had enough sleep, it will start shutting down other organs, other parts of your body. You're, just like Kristen was saying that you lack good judgment and stuff like that. That's because your brain is shutting down parts of it because it doesn't have enough energy to stay awake.
Yeah.
And so, and other parts of you will start to slow down as well. And another thing that happens when you don't have enough sleep is it causes you to want to eat because it's looking for energy. And it will make you will want to eat. And if you notice, if you snack
in one place.
Yes, it's if you snack at night, it keeps you awake. Have you noticed that?
God.
Yeah, it wakes you like back up.
I literally at midnight I'm like, I need something to eat.
That's why.
And it's probably because I need to go to bed.
Yes, we all do. So the lesson here is go to bed, get some sleep. If you snore or you're keeping your partner awake at night because you're so loud and you stop breathing or you snore, go get a sleep study. It's not that bad. And we talked about this in January when we talked about men's health and resisting going to the doctor and things. If you're not sleeping right, go to the doctor. Take care of it because this is one of those things that could develop into something much, much worse. So that's, I think, a good place to end this week. And we hope that you'll check out our blogs and all that stuff. And if there are any. And what are we talking about next week?
Well, Cindy, we're talking about next week travel destinations for a literature lover.
Ooh, I love travel topics.
Yes, so
something lighthearted after all these health kind of related serious issues too. So that's good.
Lots of cool things to talk about, including finding Mark Twain's hidden casino in the middle of nowhere. So tune in next week.
That'll be fun. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.